Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and once again we are going to be looking at Feuerschwanz. Now I know I've covered them quite a lot in the past 3 months, but you know, ever since I managed to get back from the hotel and back into my home, I've not had very many people actually suggesting tracks to me, and given the fact that I lost my old list, you know, it would take a very long time for me to go through the millions and millions of comments I have on my videos to try and remake the list. So, you know, I'm just going by the suggestions I've had in the past 5 months. You know, I've been out of the hotel for 5 months. Huh, almost 6. Anyway, so, you know, I've been getting Feuerschwanz mentioned to me a lot. After I first did them, I've had a lot of people asking me to look at tracks of theirs. So, you know, that's why we're looking at them again. Now, I checked out Warriors of the World United, which was, you know, they did a cover of the Manowar track, Warriors of the World, and I thought it was fantastic. I then looked at a track called Untot im Drachenboot, which was more of their own sort of thing. When they did Warriors of the World, they were sort of, they had loads of guest singers in the track, and it was a cover version, obviously. Untot im Drachenboot was their own, and again today we're going to be looking at another one of their own, a track called Memento Mori. Now I do have an English translation of the lyrics here. I don't know how accurate it's going to be, but we shall see. I have enjoyed each of the tracks I've checked out. I thought they did a brilliant version of Warriors of the World United. It's actually one of my favourite Manowar tracks as well. And when I looked at Untot im Drachenboot, you know, I really enjoyed that as well. You know, I do like that kind of metal from time to time. It's not a genre of metal I tend to lean towards very often, but I do like it every now and then. But I have really enjoyed their music. So I'm intrigued to see what this track is like. So we'll jump into it right now. So Memento Mori by Feuerschwanz. Let's have a look.
Gesehen. Er war so schrecklich und schön. In seinem Kahn sind die Gefahren, die von uns gehen. Sie war nicht arm und nicht reich, und ihre Augen zugleich. Sie hatte nichts, was nützlich ist im Totenreich. Und darum leben wir hier, darum leben wir jetzt. Memento Mori, bis der Tod die Messer fetzt. Ja, darum leben wir hier, darum leben wir jetzt. Memento Mori, denn du nimmst nichts mit ins Grab, bis auf deine
Oh yes, what a great piece of music. Very high energy. It had a very sort of positive feel to it. In fact, I got so into it, I didn't even bother reading the lyrics along to the song. I got so caught up in it. But it had such an energy to it. It was a great piece of music. And is it just me? Or is the sword used throughout that video Ned Stark's sword from Game of Thrones? It might not be, but I recognise that sword, and I'm pretty sure it's Ned Stark's. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, a very high energy piece of music, very, very enjoyable. Really got into that. It was a great, fun piece of music. I have really enjoyed all the music I've heard by them so far. And yeah, now Memento Mori. A literal translation is "remember death," but a sort of more accurate description of what it means is "remember that you too shall die." So it's like, no matter what happens, remember you too shall have to face your mortality, sort of thing. So in a way, it's sort of live your best life, you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, the lyrics, as I say, I've got a translation here. I can't guarantee an accurate translation, I will say that. Because, you know, every time you look for translations, you know, they vary. They can vary greatly. Sometimes there's like minuscule differences. Sometimes there's vast differences. But the translation I've got here seemed to be pretty much on average with most of what I found. But I can't guarantee that it's accurate. But what I have is, I saw the ferryman, he was so horrible and beautiful. The ones who left us have sailed in his barge. They were neither poor nor rich, and their eyes so bleak, they had nothing that's of use in the realm of the dead. So, you know, I saw the ferryman, he was horrible and beautiful at the same time. So, it's like seeing who would, I believe, you know, if you're going to go by not Norse, Greek mythology, you're looking at Charon, however you want to pronounce it. You know, they come face to face with the ferryman of the underworld, and whilst it's a terrible visage to behold, it's beautiful in its own sort of way, because in a way it's a sort of symbol of release. I suppose the ones who have left us have sailed in his barge, so all the people who've died before us, you know, ancestors, you know, family and stuff, everybody that you know who has passed on has had to sail in his barge as well. You know, they were neither poor nor rich. It doesn't matter who you are when it comes to death. We are all equal in the eyes of death. You know, it doesn't matter how rich you are, it doesn't matter how poor you are, and in the end we're all equal. You know, we all die the same. They had nothing that's of use in the realm of the dead. So, you know, again, if you're rich, you know, you can amass a fortune, but at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. You know, it doesn't matter what you amass in your lifetime, and yet at the end of the day, it means nothing. And then it goes into, well, it says refrain. I'm going to call it a chorus. It says, that's why we live right here. That's why we live right now. Memento Mori, till death sharpens its knives. Yes, that's why we live right here. That's why we live right now. Memento Mori, for you'll take nothing with you to the grave but your coffin. I love it. You know, just the way they've worded it is fantastic. You know, that's why we live right here. That's why we live right now. That's why we live in this moment. That's why we're trying to make the most of the time that we have. That's why we're enjoying our lives right at this point. Because, you know, if you don't live your best life right up until the point where death imminently comes for you, you know, you're going to have huge regrets. You know, it says, Memento Mori, till death sharpens its knives. Yes, that's why we live in the moment. So remember, death is always going to come for you, no matter who you are. You know, you cannot escape death, so you might as well enjoy your life whilst you have it. You might as well do the most with what you have up until that point when, you know, the lights go out and you put the chairs on the table and you leave the earth forever. You know, It says that Memento Mori, for you'll take nothing with you to the grave but your coffin. I love that line. I mean, okay, that doesn't necessarily apply if you're like in ancient Egypt where they took everything with them into their grave. But, you know, in the afterlife, you know, if there is such a thing, you know, nothing that you possessed here on earth is going to go with you. You know, all that goes with you to the grave is you and your coffin. That's it. I have felt the fetor. I have touched the cold earth, but in its passing life has seduced me anew. I loved and I lost, but I rose again. With my naked fist to the sky, I have sworn to myself. So, I've loved and lost, but I rose again, you know, so I've had people that I've loved, I've lost them, whether through tragedy or, you know, through separation, whatever, you know, but no matter how much pain I felt by the loss of this person, I've always risen up, I've always come back, and I've always carried on to enjoy my life. You know, no matter how many times something has got me down, I've always risen back up to continue to enjoy my life right here, right now, up until the day that I pass. And then it goes back into that chorus, and that's why we live right here, that's why we live right now. Memento Mori, till death sharpens its knives. Yes, that's why we live right here, that's why we live right now. Memento Mori, for you'll take nothing with you to the grave but your coffin. And then it has a pretty cool instrumental break, and then it goes back into the chorus. It says, that's why you live right here, that's why we live right now. Memento Mori, till death sharpens its knives. Yes, that's why we live right here, that's why we live right now. Memento Mori, for you'll take nothing with you to your grave but your coffin. And then it repeats that again. So, like I said, you know, it's a very upbeat piece of music, you know, sort of a very positive piece of music. It's like, yes, you're going to die eventually, but enjoy yourself whilst you're doing it, you know. There's a finality to life, everybody knows that. But whilst you've got this life, you might as well enjoy it, make the most of it, have fun, you know, and having that sort of very upbeat music to it sort of gives what could be considered a morbid subject a very sort of upbeat feel. And yeah, I've really enjoyed all the tracks of theirs that I've checked out, and you know that they obviously enjoy what they do. You can tell by like the videos they make, you can tell just by the performance of the song, they enjoy what they do. Fantastic piece of music, absolutely loved it. But I can't really tell you what else. I can't really say much more on the piece of music other than how much I enjoyed it and what the lyrics were, and we've already covered that. So I'm going to leave that as it is. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribe if you're not already, because it would help me out considerably. And yeah, thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Memento Mori.